Sportz. Oh, yes, I am back. I am that man, your man, the illustrious tour guide, Cole Johnson, and I'm going to give you the sports tour guide in the realm of Stephen A. Smith and Anthony Davis. The NFL schedule released for this year, and other things as well, like the Olympics. And there's a team that just really needs to be blown up. But I'll discuss all of that later. For now, headlines, please. I mentioned that the NFL schedule is out. It was released yesterday, and there were some winners and there were some losers. Let's start with the winners first. Of course, the Jets are the winners because they signed Mr. Ayahuasca, a.k.a. Aaron Rodgers, as their quarterback. So, of course, they're going to get a much of the lion's share of the attention. The Packers seem to still get that attention even though Rodgers is gone. Of course, DeMar Hamlin is going to get some attention, especially when the Bills visit Cincinnati, as it's going to be one of those feel-good moments, Sunday night events. Basically, possibly Hamlin giving thanks to the city of Cincinnati. So, of course, that's going to be a winner. To me, the biggest winner, I should say, is ESPN and flex scheduling. And why do I say that? Well, I'll go with flex scheduling first. So they extended the flex scheduling between weeks 12 and 17. It used to be, when they played 17 weeks, 14 to 17, the last 4 weeks. And then when they, of course, had they'll flex the whole schedule in week 17. It then got bumped up to weeks 13 to 17. Now they extended it to weeks 12 through 17. And the reason why I said ESPN, now Monday Night Football games can be flexed. So now ESPN is starting, no, I should say now the NFL is starting to see ESPN as a power broker in the NFL family. So that's good with them. Of course, other winners, Dan Campbell, and a whole ton of rematches from last year's playoffs. Now, if you want to look at losers, how about Christmas Day? Because I think the games might be again. Of course, a lot of people are sad that Tom Brady won't be playing this year for the first year in 23. Let's see. Mexico won't have a game this time around. And quite possibly the AFC East. And I really don't call them the losers, but the Cardinals, Falcons, Texans, and Colts do not have a primetime game scheduled. I don't call them losers. I just simply call them they won, being the worst of the worst in the NFL from 2022 going into this year. Going to the hardwood, but not necessarily on the hardwood directly, but to the booth. And Mark Jackson, color guy for ESPN and former Warriors head coach and former Nick and other teams point guard great, he had an MVP ballot in his hand. And conspicuous in the absence of that ballot was the name Nikola Jokic. Yes, the former two-time then reigning MVP until this year, of course. He was not on the ballot, on Mark Jackson's ballot, that is. Now, of course, we all know that Joel Embiid, the center of the 76ers, he got the MVP nod, and followed by Jokic, who received 15 first place votes and 52 second place votes and 32 third place votes. Now, Charles Barkley criticized Jackson for the misnomer. And Mark Jackson himself issued an apology by saying the following, quote, "My apologies to the Denver Nuggets and Nikola Jokic. He not only is a legitimate MVP candidate who deserved my vote, but he is truly one of the all-time greats. Again, my apologies." Close quote. Well, I'll put it this way, sir. You're omitting Nikola Jokic in the MVP balloting. It deserves one huge, one spectacular, one big time thankfully, somebody else did worse than you. Otherwise, you would have been the Dolt of the Week, Mr. Jackson. God bless, though, sir. Now, going to the gridiron again, but not necessarily on the gridiron, but a gridiron great. Bo Jackson, he said that he's been suffering from a condition of chronic hiccups and has been suffering for almost a full year. And he even said on the McElroy and Kubelik show in the morning, back this past Wednesday, he said that he's been dealing with this bout since last summer. And he said to them the following, quote, I've had the hiccups since last July, and I'm getting a medical procedure done at the end of this week, I think, to try to remedy it. I've been busy sitting at the hospital, setting up with doctors, poking me, shining lights down my throat, probing me every which way they can to find out why I've got these hiccups. Close quote. Now, Bo went on to say that he has undertaken strange medicines, and of course the usual scare you out of the hiccup routines has been done too, to no avail. Well, hopefully, here's to you, Bo, that you no longer fall under the hiccup train. I hope things go better for you, sir. That I know those things are absolutely annoying. And yeah, the sooner you get past that, the better. Wow, man. Going to the ice. And Jesper Fast, he was hanging his head on the bench after shooting high on a wide net earlier in Game 5 between the home Hurricanes and the visiting New Jersey Devils in the Eastern Conference semifinal round in the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs. But he got a chance to go to a net again, and he did not miss his overtime deflection as the Hurricanes beat the Devils 3-2 on Thursday, and they clinched their second round series, and now they await the winner of the Maple Leafs, Panthers series to host them in the conference finals. Now they become the first NHL team to reach the finals, reaching it for the first time in their franchise in 4 years. Now, I really do think that the Hurricanes have just been rolling in the playoffs, and looks like they're showing no signs of slowing down, but you might have some tough competition over in the western side. Speaking of which, the Kraken and the Stars, they've had a really good series thus far. Game 5 was yesterday in this broadcast, meaning Thursday, and the Stars showed up, the Stars showed out, and with Joe Pavelski scoring yet another goal in the series, his 7th, the Stars beat the Kraken 5-2, and they go up 3-2 in the best-of-7 series. Now, the winner of this series, of course, will go on to face the Oilers or the Golden Knights. In that series, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's 2-2. They will face one of those two clubs in the Western Conference Finals. But so far, it has been a nip-and-tuck game, and you really can't tell which way the series is going game to game. One game you think the Kraken are going to take a hold of it. Then the next game you see the Stars dominate, and then these other games take on the different shape that they have. But tomorrow night we'll see Game 6 with the Kraken and the Stars in Seattle. If not, if the Stars don't clinch, then Monday night is when in Dallas they'll have to, or the Kraken will. And for them, the Kraken, it will be their second road series clinching victory I'm doing this wrong. It will be the second
Game 7
road clinching victory for the Kraken, should they win Saturday, and then win Monday. Well, good luck to all the 7 teams that are remaining in the Stanley Cup playoff field. And Tom Brady is in talks to become a limited Raiders partner. And that concludes today's headlines, or I should say this week's headlines. A break, a trip to the VIP lounge, and then we're going to we're going to send an email to a particular NBA team because I think they need to receive one. This is Cole Sportz with a Z, and I'm Cole Johnson on the BS3 Network, on the Comey Media Incorporated YouTube channel, and the Cole Sportz YouTube channel. We'll be right back right after this.
have to learn to live with yourself before you can make a commitment of yourself to someone else.
When you go to something that's already structured, like the church, I don't need to go in there thinking I'm the pastor. It's like already one set up. You know what I'm saying?
It just had everything. But I learned, you know what I'm saying? Everything I did, I learned from.
So we look forward to seeing you same time, same place. Know that we love you. God loves you more. Continue to stay safe, do the right thing, stay out of trouble.
Conversation that informs a community. Brothers of Legacy. Every weekday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern. Quinn.
Moment of clarity. I haven't watched BET in years.
KP.
Drake needs to come back with another triple platinum album.
E. Digger.
And then you have Ray J. Like, I can't stand that River Cricket.
The Guru.
Okay, the level of crack she's smoking, I don't want it.
BS3 Network proudly presents the Knucklehead Chronicles podcast, where from card tips to hot topics to meep of the week, anything goes. Live every Sunday at 2:30 p.m. Central. Welcome back, Cole Johnson, Cole Sportz, and there is a team that really needs to be blown up, and I'll talk about that in a minute. Now, to participate with any live broadcast of Cole Sportz, we have the VIP zone, and whoever has the best comments will actually have that comment be a chapter in the YouTube canon of these episodes. So yes, visit the VIP zone, which is of course the comment section, and do your thing. Best comments will be placed as a chapter on the YouTube broadcast. Now, how can I say this delicately? The Phoenix Suns, so they were up 2-0 in 2021's NBA Finals. They were up 2-0 in last year's conference semifinals. And, well, they really didn't have really much of a chance this year, but they were met with serious heartbreak the previous 2 years and this past week, I should say, actually yesterday. And, oh boy, I really hate to send this, but I got to send one of these. I got you. Thank you, Prince. Email Phoenix Suns. CC Matt Ispia. Subject of email, blow it up. Body of email. Now, as I mentioned, in 2021, in the NBA Finals, your Suns, Mr. Ispia, they were up 2-0, having home court advantage, mind you, in the NBA Finals, and they losing 4 straight to the Bucks. Then we get to last year. The team has the best record in all the land, and everything was all kosher. Struggled in the first round to beat the Pelicans, got them out the way in 6. Then you got the Mavericks. You had them down 2-0, and you held serve at home court. Each team won on their home floor for the first 6 games. Then we get to Game 7, and I'm so sorry. Then we get to
Game 7.
And you screwed the pooch. In fact, you you got on the court and it almost seemed as if it was, a facsimile of the roster that we saw the intervening 6-7 months prior to that particular game, which happened around this time period last year. Well, around Mother's Day-ish last year. So now, 12 months later, here we are. You already had the embarrassment and I think it was, July? I think July, I believe, 2021, because the season started later. So the indignity of July 2021, where you had a 2-0 lead, and you were 2 games from the Larry O'Brien Trophy being in Phoenix for the first time ever, and you were at that position to actually be in pursuit of that title, then for the first time in 28 years. And just like in 1993, you came up short in 6 games there. You came up short 6 games there in 2021. Then you have the best record last year. You choked that away. Then you come to the conference semifinals this year. You play the Nuggets and doggone. I mean, really, I know Footprint Center, all 18,000 people had to be saying,
"You've got to be joking me."
So they witnessed a 30-point halftime deficit in Game 7 of last year's conference semifinals when it was on the Footprint Center home court. And in the home court yesterday at Footprint Center, they witnessed a 30-point deficit going into halftime there. The only difference between those 2 games is that offensively you couldn't do jack last year, only scoring 27 points. This time it was a defensive no-show because you allowed 81 points to the Nuggets.
You for real?
Now, you have a lot of problems facing you. Like, I don't know, Chris Paul for one. Now, he's due a huge sum of money after July 28th, I believe. If he's on the Suns, he gets paid a good chunk. And we're talking about a person who just blown the candles out, last week, to his 38th birthday. So I don't think you would want to have someone on your team who, if you do make it to the playoffs next year, he'll be 39 if you make it to the conference semifinals again. I don't know if you want to have someone with that much tread on his tires leading your team, and you just suffered this year with him not being on the team because of injury in games 3, 4, 5, and 6. Because it almost is a running joke or a foregone conclusion between May the 1st or 2nd and Mother's Day, he's going to get injured. And I'm not saying that as a laughing thing. I'm saying that as a factual thing. And he's not getting younger. Then you have DeAndre Ayton, who I think he may be shining a light on an even bigger problem, where we saw this friction between him and head coach Monty Williams in not really having the best of relations with the coach or the team. But we're seeing that friction rear its ugly head and not necessarily seeing the friction directly. But I think we're seeing the friction indirectly having the ripple effect of a team that is not in sync, a team that is not really on the same page, a team that really is in flux. And a guy who he's looking for that big time payday. He got an extension, but he didn't get the money he wanted because the Suns saw in Aiden a guy who you want to have more potential. You want to see more potential out of him. And he just isn't delivering. And that is problematic all its own. All its own. So now you have a guy who really doesn't want to be on the team, and he now is about to become in his prime in years. And you have a guy who's past his prime who is injury prone. Oh, no, by the way, you dealt your whole bench for a guy who's past his prime, and he now has a little tread on his tires. He's going to be 34 by the time we get around to next playoffs in 2024 because he will be 35 in the summer, not next summer, I should say. And you did this hoping that if you struck out severely, that you would get your shot at the ring if you had Kevin Durant on the team. Well, you probably could, but there's one big, huge problem. Okay, so you got the piece. You need other pieces around him. And you can say, well, you got one of the best point guards that's played in today's game. And you have a guy who people consider to be the next one of the 4 or 5 guys who people are calling the next Mamba in Devin Booker. I'm going to get to him in a second. So it should stand to reason that this should be a slam dunk, a literal slam dunk, that we're going to actually have a competitive team. When you need to have your 2 best offensive players score at least 35 each, I would dare say 40 points each, just to stand a chance to be the team that's as deep as the Nuggets, and looks like the Lakers are proven to be just as deep, and the Warriors already are proven just as deep, that is a problem. Because that means in any given rotation of the other 8, you got to come up with 8 people. You got to come up with at least another 30 just to have a chance at a sniffing chance, I should say, at a W. But because of that, if they both were to score their averages, which in games 1 and 2 they did, the Suns was going to catch one of these many. And now it gets to Devin Booker. Now, many people were touting his prowess. You know, he was slashing the bejesus out of the Clippers. He was just making that defense look like mincemeat. And then we get to game 3 of this round, and he shows out with 46 points, and everybody and their mama is saying Devin Booker is the best player in the playoffs this year. And I'm like, wait a minute, hold on now, wait, no, let's stop that record. Not with Jimmy Butler, not with Nikola Jokic, and no, again, no, can't do it, won't do it, sorry. And someone asked the question, all right, so are you ready to give Devin Booker top 5 status? I was like, no, because we have last year's Game 7 conference semifinals debacle as proof. But people were like, well, look at what he's doing now. Okay, well, look at what he did yesterday. Game 6, elimination game, is at home, conference semifinals. This was a time where you needed to have Booker show up, show out like he did in game 3, and prove that he was going to be the guy to steady the ship, right the ship, be the guy that everyone can rally around and say, okay, I think we'll be fine. Game 7, we'll go to the Mile High for the weekend and steal one there and go to the conference finals. No, that's not what you had. No. You had a 12-point, although he gave you 8 boards, performance. 12 points, 1 of 3 from 3, 4 of 13 from shooting, and that is what he gave you for an elimination game. That is tantamount to Kawhi. Tell him what's tantamount to. It's embarrassing. It's utterly embarrassing. And Mr. Ishbia, that was cool that you were trying to debo Nikola, in game 4, trying to show, I'm boss and all that type of junk. but don't poke the bear. If you didn't learn the last series with Dylan Brooks popping his gums at LeBron James, you poked the bear. And Nikola just went ham in that game the rest of the way, Game 5 and Game 6. He triple-doubled almost the entire series against you guys. Don't stir up a hornet's nest. Let the sleeping dog lie, please. But you have a decision on your hands. You got a center that don't want to play with you. You got a point guard that is rather old. You have a small forward who is probably one of the best scorers that we've ever seen, but he may give you, if you're lucky, 60 games. And that's if you're lucky. And you have a budding talent who's about to become in his prime that disappears in the biggest moments when the going gets tough and the fire gets its hottest. You have a tough decision on your hands, and it's more than just the deal of showing all of the games home and away on regular TV and out on cable. But hey, you do have a stellar playoff caliber roster. They went to the finals 2021. They went to the conference semifinals last year. They went to the conference semifinals this year. You can hang your hat on that, but you won't be hanging your hat on anything else, sir. Because until you really right the ship, who is going to think that the Phoenix Suns are going to be worthy of an NBA championship? And that, unfortunately, is the fate that has befallen the Phoenix Suns. Ouch. Cole Johnson, Cole Sportz, Cole Sportz with a Z at gmail.com. You're listening to the classiest sports show on the planet. Cole Sportz! Cut that off about 3 minutes. From the vault, a look back at a key moment in sports history. May the 12th, 1974. So on one end, you had a power that was an institution in the Boston Celtics. I mean, after all, they went and won 8 straight world championships in the previous decade. But after 1969, they went on a tailspin. And then on the other side, you have a budding power in the Milwaukee Bucks. Well, after all, they did win the NBA championship in 1971, almost quite easily. And they had a young, spry center who already has an MVP in his coffers. His name, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. So these two powers met up as the Celtics got better, with John Havlicek leading them, and Kareem on the Bucks end leading them, and the collision was set. And it was a nip and tuck type of series. In fact, it was a defensive affair, with the Bucks only scoring over 100 points twice, and the Celtics only scoring over 100 points twice. And each game, basically, they alternated victories. Boston won games 1, 3, 5, and 7. The Bucks won games 2, 4, and 6. So we get down to game 7. It was not a contest, with the Bucks succumbing to the more powerful Celtic squad, 102-87. Dave Cowens, he ended up with the high honors in that game with 28 points and 14 boards. But John Havlicek with 26 points, 8 rebounds, and 5 assists, he was your MVP of the 1974 NBA Finals. The Celtics decide to get back to glory again, and they beat the Bucks 4-3 to clinch yet another NBA championship. From the vault, brought to you by Cole Sportz. This is a journey into crime. A podcast journey that tells the stories of those long forgotten or those easy to remember. We go on a journey that reveals mystery, intrigue, and offers more twists and turns than a country highway. We have looked over cases, we've combed over evidence and testimony, yet we still are left with no answers. Sometimes, in order to get a deeper understanding of something, you must return to view. Now available for download for subscribers only. Each episode premieres only on the USA Today Network. Join now for just $1 to receive premium content like Return to View. That's $1 to become a subscriber and a Return to View loyal listener. Alicia.
You can't hold somebody to that standard if you haven't voiced what you want and what you're needing from that.
Mika.
If you're not communicating expectations, you're waiting for your feelings to be hurt.
Nicole.
A lot of people don't want to take the time out to be alone and to get themselves together.
Ivan.
You got to be willing to work through stuff. And from the jump street, y'all done had problems. Maybe you don't need to be working through those.
BS3 Network proudly presents Queen 3 and King podcast. Live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central. Welcome back to Cole Sportz. Cole Johnson here. And we take a trip back to the VIP zone where it is the owner, the manipulator, and the operator of the BS3 network, one Benjamin Sudduth, the third, saying, "What's up, Cole? What's up, Ben?" And you, sir, might have me reimagining that email I just sent. I like that. Subject of email, disappointment. Again. I like how you think, sir. And you, sir, you'll have that comment be one of the chapters on this episode. So thank you, Ben. That's how it works. It's just that simple. Now, I guess I should say, now it is time to come to the part of the show where you all came to see it, right? So let us award this episode's DOLT of the Week. DOLT of the Week is sponsored by nobody. The winner of this episode's DOLT of the Week is... Queen Zone and ESPN Zone, Stephen A. Smith. Now, why is he getting this award? I'm so glad you asked. Well, he gets this award because, he's known for spitting out hot takes. Well, this time he spat out a take so hot it was reminiscent of today's NBA fan. Now, hot takes from anybody, it's fine. We all have them. Even I have some. But some are so hot it's boiling. And some is so hot it makes people on the inside boil. And this take that Stephen A. Smith spat definitely was. Because he said on First Take when he saw, I should say on First Take when he witnessed Mr. Anthony Davis of the Lakers have to be rolled out of Chase Center in San Francisco with a concussion. Quote, "I'll be if I wasn't laughing." I'm like, concussion. I thought the NFL season was over. I understand concussions can happen in other sports like boxing, UFC. If the collision is fierce enough, I guess it can happen in basketball too. Close quote. Goodness Lord.
Come on!
You've got to be joking me.
No!
Inspector Todd.
This whole thing stinks to high heaven.
Really, Stephen A? Really? All right, so in the playing question, fourth quarter game 5 between the Warriors and the Lakers in San Francisco, Kevon Looney is going up for a board, and he incidentally, with his elbow, hit the head of the Lakers' Anthony Davis, and then, of course, Davis went down and he clutched his head. And it was considered to be so bad that they rendered him to basically be out the rest of that game. Many, of course, on social media went ham and they said, "Oh, Mr. Glass," and of course they would fit Anthony Davis's face on the Mr. Glass character in Unbreakable, and and have their jollies and jokes there. I expected out of those trolls to have a guy who supposedly lauds that he has done this for almost 30 years. And he resorts to a weak analysis like that. An analysis that basically I would think that he would listen to one of his great nephews to say, or one of his daughter's friends to say. Then I have to question it and have to question you. I even have to question your professionalism, sir, because that is something you should not, as a veteran journalist, even do, even if you are one who spits hot takes for a living, one who is about a commentator, one who gets paid to put forth your opinion. And yes, I can say, well, yeah, you walked it back, and yes, you walked it back. You apologized. That's not the point for me. The point for me is that you have a guy who received an elbow, whether it was innocuous or not. You don't ever know what concussions can do to a guy. You know, he might be woozy. You never know. You never know. And what makes this even funnier is that you played the game in college. So you played the game in college. You have covered the sport since the mid-90s. And you've covered the NBA portion of it since, what, late 90s, 2000 maybe? So you have been around the NBA for over 2 decades as a columnist. And now as a commentator. You have done this work for over 2 decades. You know that you never can quite tell when innocuous contact could mess everything up. And that is possibly what could have happened with Anthony Davis. No, but you want to go the today NBA fans route. You wanted to say, well, he had to be rolled out in the wheelchair. Oh my gosh. He had to be rolled out in the wheelchair. Kawhi. That was amateur analysis. Straight up, straight out. Amateur analysis. Don't come to me with that type of weak analysis if you're going to be that much of an amateur for a professional and a veteran that you are. Come on, dude. This guy had to go through concussion protocol, and from what I understand, everything seems to be a go, and he's probable for tonight's game. As of this recording, this is May the 12th. Game 6 between the Lakers and the Warriors in Crypto.com in LA is later on tonight. He had to go through concussion protocol to make sure that he was okay. That is not a laughing matter. That is never a laughing matter. However, the fact that you think that, well, basketball players, well, they may not go through concussions. There's many different ways you can. Yes, an elbow is one. A knee is another. Your head hitting the deck is another. Or diving into the stands and having your head collapse to the floor, which is concrete, I might add, or a chair. You don't ever know how you can suffer a concussion. And this was a possible concussion that Anthony Davis suffered from, but I'm glad it is not. But they had to make sure, and he had to make sure. For you to laugh at that is laughable. But I'm not going to laugh at you, sir. No, I'm not going to laugh at you at all. No, what I'm going to do is just give you this strike. You know better, Stephen A. You know better. You know better. So take that strike and also take this on the way out the door. Come on, man. Do much better than that. I expect better out of you. I'm highly disappointed. When I come back, well, the Lakers, Darvin Ham, LeBron James, and flopping. I think that's all I need to say. We'll be right back after this. This is Cole Sportz. I'm Cole Johnson. And that's Cole Sportz with the Z.
You have to learn to live with yourself before you can make a commitment of yourself to someone else.
When you go to something that's already structured, like the church, I don't need to go in there thinking I'm the pastor. It's like already one set up. You know what I'm saying?
It just had everything. But I learned, you know what I'm saying? Everything I did, I learned from.
So we look forward to seeing you same time, same place. Know that we love you, God loves you more. Continue to stay safe, do the right thing, stay out of trouble.
Conversation that informs a community. Brothers of Legacy. Every weekday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern. Quinn.
Moment of clarity. I haven't watched BET in years.
KP.
Drake needs to come back with another triple platinum album.
E Digger.
And then you have Ray J. Like, I can't stand that River Cricket.
The Guru.
Okay, the level of crack she's smoking, I don't want it.
BS3 Network proudly presents the Knucklehead Chronicles podcast, where from card tips to hot topics to meep of the week, anything goes. Live every Sunday at 2:30 p.m. Central. Coming up on next week's Cole Sportz, who's going to join the Nuggets in the NBA Conference Finals? Who's going to join the Hurricanes in the NHL Conference Finals? And other things as well. And of course, we're going to send an email. We're going to go in on the topic, and we're going to have a DOLT of the week as well. And we'll take another trip to the VIP zone. My man Andrew coming through like a champ. He says, look, no shocker to see Stephen A. Smith win this award. So ridiculous to do that. I 100% agree with you, sir. And that will be a chapter in the YouTube canon of this episode. So I appreciate that, and I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much, Andrew, for being such a wonderful supporter and a VIP for sure. All right. So there's been this series with the Warriors and the Lakers off the court has been absolutely moronic. It's been amateurish. It's been sophomoric. You've had charges of referees favoring one team over another. You have the charge of Kerr saying the Lakers flop. And now you have Darvin Ham, who talked about, well, I don't know what a foul is. And then we get to him defending the flopping charge from Kerr. So with that, I have to go. Yeah! So the Lakers head coach, Darvin Ham, with his team up 3-2 in the conference semifinals matchup with the Warriors, he looked upon Game 5 and he saw in that 121-106 loss things that really did not go well with him. And so there were accusations, of course, as I mentioned, from the Warriors head coach Steve Kerr that the Lakers were using gamesmanship and with the officials and flopping to gain an advantage. Well, Mr. Ham, to defend his team, which a head coach would have to be, said the following, quote, "We play a physical brand of basketball. We don't teach flopping. We don't teach head snaps. You see," he mentioned LeBron's name, or King James, or his king. He's got 1,000 scratches on his arms. Same with Anthony Davis. Same with Austin Reeves. Same with Lonnie Walker. It's unfortunate that it comes to that. But we hadn't done it all year, and we darn sure not going to start now. Looking for a third party to dive in and help us. Close quote. Now, I would have just simply let that go with a grow up. Because I said this to Kerr when he complained about the officiating. Grow up. I said the same thing to Darvin Ham when he complained about the officiating. Grow up. Why do I say that? It isn't as if neither one of these guys, as players in the playoffs, knew that there were either some inherent advantages or disadvantages, whatever it may have you, when it came to officiating. It was a part of the game, especially the playoffs. And so you normally had coaches, and I know with both of them, they had great coaches in their careers who said to them, okay, the officiating may be against us just like the crowd is, but you know what? We're going to rise above that and beat everybody because it is the 15 of us versus everybody else. So you mean to tell me that you all have become softer in your older ages and you're like, well, I got to defend my players and gripe to the NBA offices and say, you know, the officiating is favoring the opposing team? Really? Really? That's what you have to do?
Come on!
Ridiculous. And I'm finding this gamesmanship to be trite and ridiculous too. I would have just said, just drop it and let it go from there. But no. Yo King had to say something too. Yes, LeBron James had to talk about the flopping. And this is what he had to say about the matter. Quote, "I just know that our coaching staff and us players, we don't work on flopping. That's not even a part of our game. Our game is to attack the paint. We don't mind physical contact. We actually like the contact. We don't shy away from it. We're just not a team that goes out there looking for flopping opportunities. That's just not us. It's actually never been any team that I've played on in my 20 years where we've been a flopping team." Close quote. Kawhi. Iconic / inspiration.
You've got to be joking me.
Teddy.
You for real?
Inspector Todd.
This whole thing stinks to high heaven.
Stone Cold.
What?
Is that right, Mr. James? The last sentence. It's actually never been any team that you've played on in your 20 years where you've been a flopping team? Well, okay, I'll put it this way. You may not have been a flopping team, but you, sir, are a flopping player. Do you think that I'm saying this like my partner on Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson, who basically has an axe to grind with you and just basically thinks everything you do is horrible? No, it's not that. No. It's not the it sucks and I'm just going to say with my word it sucks. No. Or you flop and it's just my word that says you flop. No, I got video evidence of it. Oh, you think I'm playing? No. Video evidence. Oh, you like to see it? Here we go. You know, here you are. You're playing the Pacers. And, look at that fake elbow that Paul George gave to your mug. Where the elbow didn't come close to hitting your face. Oh, how about when, as a Laker, going up against the Suns, so Chris Paul bodies you out with his butt, basically screens you out. And, of course, Paul skirts the rules a little, but you decide to cheat it even further and fake as though he hit you hard enough to put you on the turf, on the deck. Really? Oh, and as a Heat, here you are. You're playing against the Pacers, and you have West and another player who trap you, and in the trap, when West reaches for the ball, you fake as though you got hit in the face. But look at this. Oh, nothing contacted your face. Get out of here. Oh, how about as a Laker, you're playing the Raptors, you go up for a hoop, you go up for the shot, you miss it, you act like you got poked in the eye, but upon closer look, nothing hit your eye. So I guess it must have been some particle that you said, and this one's right here, the Grizzlies. Look at this ridiculousness. So Dylan Brooks supposedly hit you and you got thrown back, but let's look at this wonderful bean footage once again, shall we? Yeah. Upon closer evidence, here we go. Look at that. Really? Really? You fall. No one hits you. You just fall. Look at that. I don't flop. 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 Are you kidding me? Shut up with that. You don't flop crap. Oh, and then you hear as a calf. A Raptor hit you, right? No. On closer evidence, Tristan Thompson's elbow doesn't really hit your face. It just comes close. You see the ref, and then you act as though you got elbowed by a Raptor. And then here you go. You fall flat on your keister. Oh, and then back as a Heat. Playing the Knicks. Here's a screen that gets set. Bam. But the thing is, you clutch your neck. Nothing hit your neck. It was your back. And it wasn't even that hard of a screen. Look at that. Oh, and then against a calf. Austin Crocier. He's trying to move muscle past the screen. You decide to just flop on the ground. And then back as a Heat again. Derrick Rose. He tries to get the ball. He hits the ball, but he acts like he scratched your face. And then you don't flop. Wink. And then here you are. You trying to get posted up. And then you act as though you are getting maneuvered and bullied to the deck. Don't sell me this you don't flop crap. Yes, you do, LeBron. That was 3 minutes of evidence of you acting as though you could win the Best Basketball Actor Award at the Academy Awards for the last 20 years. Because that was when you were as a Cav, a Heat, and a Laker. So maybe the Lakers organization doesn't teach the flopping, but my friend, you do. So before you go popping off at the mouth saying, well, we don't teach flopping here, and in my 20 years, that's not what we do, there's evidence of this, and there are many more cases and much more footage of you flopping. Yes, sir. But to Ham, to Kerr, and to everybody associated with the Warriors and Lakers, stop messing this series up and just get to playing basketball. The refs may favor one team over another in a given game. Deal with it and beat everybody anyway. That's what you're supposed to do. That's what both of these teams are not doing. And why? The leadership is not giving the example of, well, we must overcome everybody and everything. Shame on both of you. And definitely, LeBron, shame on you for being a hypocrite. One more time to the VIP zone. Oh, we appreciate all of these things. We appreciate you. My man on Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson, Snowman Multimedia, a.k.a. Brian Snow, a.k.a. Snowman. He says, bring those receipts. And then he goes on to say, Dear Stephen A., you're fired. Then he goes on to say, Dear LeFraud, you're fired. Then Andrew says, a master flopper criticizing and accusing the opponent of doing said thing. So ironic. Andrew, chef's kiss on that, my friend. Chef's kiss, because that's really where I am with it. And look, thank you guys in the VIP zone. Wonderful comments. And if you are going to be watching any of these episodes, please pass a comment. As I said, the best ones will be a chapter in the episode in which I read the comment. So thank you guys, the VIP zone. I love you guys. And that will do it for this episode of Cole Sportz. Now, if you feel led to donate to the program, all you have to do is go to cash.app/$ host Cole Johnson. That's cash.app /$ host Cole Johnson. And with that, I bid you adieu. For all of us here at Cole Sportz, I'm Cole Johnson. And this is Cole Sportz with a Z. Thank you for tuning in to Cole Sportz. To download this episode, go to Spreaker and type Cole Sportz with a Z. For apparel, go to Spring and type Cole Sportz VIP Boutique. That's with a Z. To reach Cole Johnson, go to flowcode.com/page/host Cole Johnson. This has been a Comey Media Incorporated presentation.